Welcome to this edition of Transform with TAS, where we take those favorite recipes that our mom used to make us and we make them healthy. Today, I am going to make you breakfast casserole. This is a dish that I like to make at least once a year, but I make it throughout the year though. But normally I make it when my family comes for Thanksgiving. And I normally would have some cheese grits. I got to be honest, I would have cheese grits, and I would normally make this with pork sausage. But today I'm going to use turkey sausage. And I'm also going to incorporate a new trend, which is called Chaffles. So I'm going to use Chaffles as my base instead of bread. So we're going to get cooking just as soon as I come back. So hold on, I'll be right back.
Dr. Teresa A. Smith, also known as Dr. TAS, Graves' disease and gastric sleeve surgery protein-focused home cook and talk show host, feeds your physical, mental, and spiritual body. Time to transform with TAS.
Well, we're back. Now, some of you may have been following this keto craze. Well, it's really low carb eating. And so if you're like me, from time to time, you just jump into all these different new diets and try to figure out which one's gonna work for you. Well, with the keto, Chaffles are the new things. That's Chaffles. And I'm saying Chaffle, but people pronounce it different ways. So basically with a Chaffle, you see the steam coming out this waffle maker, you are taking egg and whatever seasoning you would like or herb you would like, and you're mixing it together with cheese. And so what people are doing is they're using Chaffles instead of bread, because with the keto diet, you're not supposed to have bread. Well, what I've done is, and for this particular segment, I'm going to make a Chaffle, but I'm going to use egg whites. So what I've just done is I poured a fourth of a cup of egg whites and about a third a cup of mozzarella cheese. I added Italian seasoning. That's the herb that I put in, and that's all that I put in. I sprayed my waffle maker, and this is just a big waffle maker. You'll find that folks are using these little cutesy waffle makers, but I only had a big one. So I spread everything in after I mix it. And because I'm using egg whites, what I've learned is, again, egg whites are more liquidy. So I have to let this set just a little bit more before I flip it. And I do that so that when I do turn it, it does not drain out. And you may still see a little drainage when I do turn it, but it's really quick and simple. And people are, you see that, how that egg white is beginning to cook there? And so people are really just making Chaffle everything. You can make dessert, you can make savory Chaffles. And I've not made a dessert Chaffle yet, but I have been making Chaffles where I've been putting different seasonings in there. And so I thought, okay, breakfast casserole, how can I remove some of the good but not good for us components? And of course bread, which is a carb, if we can remove some of the carbs out of our diet, as my doctor would say, watch your carbs and watch your fat. Hopefully you'll be eating a better diet. And so that's what I'm trying to do with this particular one. And so with my waffle iron, you're going to see me peering over, because when the green light comes on, that lets me know that it's time for me to flip it again. But basically what we're going to do is I'm going to create Chaffle. Now I've already sprayed my casserole dish here, and I've already got half of a Chaffle there. And so we're going to put the other Chaffle in this dish, and I'm going to spray it around so we can get as many little crevices filled as possible. And then we're going to build our breakfast casserole. Okay, this is beginning to smell good. I can tell you that. And I thought that doing a Chaffle was ideal because it's a breakfast casserole. So therefore you have eggs, which are high in protein. They're basically low carb. And then you've got cheese. Now, of course, cheeses do have some fat, but what I've tried to do always is do a blend, because with a blend, it means everything is not going to be as high fat And so that's what I like to do, is to blend everything together. And so for this particular breakfast casserole, I'm going to do, and I didn't want to do it. I did not want to do it, but I'm doing it anyway. Now you see my light has come on, so that means now I'm going to turn this one more time. I am going to use, because I cannot tell a fib, I'm going to use a 1/2 pound of pork sausage. And the reason I'm doing that is I found that with my family, I have to take them slowly. You know, they've been tasting things, and you know how Mama is. We'll talk to her a little later. I might ask her how she liking some of the stuff that I've been cooking. But Mama is accustomed to what she's accustomed to. And so if I were making this strictly for me, I would use ground turkey sausage. I would not use pork sausage. But I did do the pork sausage, and I only used 1/2 pound, okay? And I did it, as I said, because you have to sometimes transition folks, even yourself, in stages. Because if you're used to having all this good, bad food, you just can't all of a sudden start eating healthy, because you're not going to want to continue. So I am using a 1/2 pound of pork sausage. I also chopped up the rainbow as it relates to my peppers. I chopped up red peppers, orange peppers, and yellow peppers, and I chopped up onions. And I sauteed them, though, in chicken broth. And you may say, chicken broth? Yeah, because I'm always trying to cut out as much fat where I can. So I sauteed them in chicken broth. And I didn't get them as soft as I could have, because I'm trying to maintain some texture. Because I find that we also need texture as we are cooking things. And then when we're eating, we need to have some texture. So now this one is done. Now I could let it sit in here and crisp up, but I'm not, okay? So we're gonna see if I can pull this out and put it over here in my casserole dish. And if it falls apart, it's okay. And the reason it's okay is it's gonna be baked. So this is hot, of course, so I'm gonna slide it to the left. It's like doing an electric slide. We're gonna slide it to the left. Then I'm gonna slide back to the middle here. So we've got this chaffle right out of the waffle iron. And I'm going to take my other one, because it is cool. That one is hot to the touch. And I'm just gonna break it apart some, okay? And I'm going to make sure that I have chaffle, which is serving as the bread, throughout, around the sides of my breakfast casserole, okay? And that's good enough, okay? So my next thing is I'm going to now start layering my sausage. And as I told you, it is pork sausage. So we're gonna layer the sausage. And, you know, I'm not being really sticky about how it goes. We're just gonna get it in here, okay? I'm just going to spread it around. But I do want to make sure that every time a person takes a bite, they actually have some sausage. Now I'm going to just put the peppers. I'm just going to layer them around and just smooth them out so that we have peppers here too. Peppers and onions. Okay. They smell really good. They smell good. Okay, so we've got our peppers and onions. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix my egg and my milk mixture. And for this particular recipe, I'm always trying something new. So we've got 3/4 cups of egg white. So I'm just going to pour this into my bowl. And I've got a 1/2 cup of milk. And I must say, this is protein enriched milk, so it's not your regular milk. And I've got my spices here. I've got salt and pepper, and I've got just a little pinch of smoked paprika. I'm finding that smoked paprika is becoming like one of my go-tos. I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like you have to have something that's different. Now, this is different. I'm putting... Please don't say, Dr. TAS, why did you do it? I had to do it. This is 1/3 cup of Greek yogurt. And I'm pretty sure it's probably fat-free. And if it's not fat-free, it's reduced fat. Because I wanted to add another taste to this mixture, but I also wanted to add more protein. And so really I'm trying to balance out the fact that I use pork sausage, but even if I hadn't used the pork sausage, I still would have used the yogurt because I think the yogurt really helps with the creaminess. Also, it reduced the amount of milk that I was using. And so basically, as you see, I'm just stirring it together. If it's a little lumpy, because I could have used the whisk, but it's okay. When I baked one earlier, I did not use the whisk and it turned out just fine. Now understand that with breakfast casserole, the trick is that you have to let it sit. Normally, you let it sit overnight. Now this is a Mexican blend. That's 3-cheese Mexican blend that I have put together here. Now my hope is that I have enough milk egg mixture to go into our breakfast casserole. And as I was saying, the breakfast casserole, it needs to set at least 6 hours. And when I do mine, I do it, let it sit overnight. So we're gonna pour this on. Just pouring it over, just pouring it over, just pouring it over. And somebody may say, well, she didn't add any other spices or anything to her egg mixture. Well, the reason I didn't do that is because the Chaffles have Italian seasoning. So I didn't want to add another layer of any potent herbs or spices because believe it or not, when this comes together, it's going to be really good because this is something that I've already been nibbling at. And I will tell you, when I made this, before I made it for you guys, I actually had turkey sausage. I didn't have pork sausage, and it turned out really well, really well. And why we do the overnight is because we want the egg mixture to be absorbed in what would have normally have been the bread. Now I'm just putting a few more specks of cheese because I am a Southern girl and you know we like our cheese, but I did use a blend, so that will help cut down on some of our not good for us, but good to us eats that we're gonna be having. We're gonna have some good eats. All righty. So here is our breakfast casserole. And as you can see, I'm using a smaller dish because the smaller the portions, the better they are for us. And that's another reason I went with the pork sausage because I had 1 pack of pork sausage, a pound, and I divided up between the 2 dishes. So therefore, this is a much smaller dish. So I felt that I could give my family pork sausage versus giving them turkey sausage. So what I will do with this is I will put this in the refrigerator and then it will set and then I will bake it overnight, tomorrow morning once it's set overnight. So when we come back, I'm going to be showing you a wonderful interview that I had with someone that I think that you're going to really like. Be back soon. Now, Peter, let me kind of bring us back in here. What was it about Mo Better Blues, and that's Spike Lee, of course, and folks know that propelled you to want to capture your own stories on paper?
I remember watching Spike Lee's, not his very first one, Lord, I forgot the name of it. It'll come back to me. Mm-hmm. But watching his blockbuster, Do the Right Thing.
Do the Right Thing.
That movie spoke to every New Yorker. Yeah. Okay, especially to the Black New Yorker. I said, I love that. That's me, Fire Hot, everything. If you remember Do the Right Thing. Yeah. And I said, I'm gonna follow this guy's, I'm gonna watch all his stuff, School Days. Mm-hmm. I forgot his first one, I had to go back and watch that. I went to the movies with this girl I was going with in Harlem. It was the Beacon Theater. That's when we used to dress up and go to the theater.
Okay.
Everybody used to dress up and go to the theater. Harlem, Beacon Theater, Mo Better Blues. I watched that movie. I left out of that movie floating. This is 1990 when it first came out. I think, if I'm sure, it came out in 90. I was floating. A voice said, "You could do this." That was in 90. I didn't activate it until 97. When I got into the post office. But
Now,
that was then that voice said you could do this. And during that time, I would hear more and more voices, to do this. You got to listen to that whisper of God. That whisper is powerful, but you need to dig through all of that to get to the whisper. And I kept putting more and more layers of my nonsense on top, just suppressing that, Because at the time, go ahead.
I'm sorry, because I want to reiterate what you just said, because that's a nugget. You heard the voice, and you knew you weren't just here to exist. You heard the voice. You felt you already were a writer. You felt that you could do it. You heard it. You were so impressed by that piece of work by Spike. But the point is, you then said you kept layering on things that was preventing you from your term is activated, but was preventing you from doing the work.
Exactly.
Why? Why were you doing that?
Insecurities, trying to find my own place. I still, didn't know who I was, trying to fit in, and not even accepting who I was. Okay, even in New York, I'm a New Yorker. Even in New York, I would get people that say, "You don't act like a New Yorker." I don't do things that the normal was supposedly a New Yorker supposed to be doing. I remember, and I think I wrote it in the bio, I would be on the stoop. This is back in my, high school days. Even before videos even came out now, sit on the stoop, we all around just talking, laughing. A lot of times my mind is conjuring up a story of what's going on in that circle. My friend at the time, my best friend Carlos, caught me laughing. He said, "Pete, why you always do that? You just laugh because I'm making scenarios up of what's happened at that time and implementing my own whatever that I still do to this day. I'm already conjuring up stories and plots and whatever, but I'm not even acting up on it. Who knows? Maybe if I don't know. I don't want to blame anybody, because you got people that's been in my situation make the best of it, and seeked out, kind of knew what they wanted to do, at early age. Mine came later on.
Well, Peter, I don't know what your question is going to be, but your statement was going to be, but my question was going to be, do you think if you had someone to share that desire with, what you were doing, you would have become more secure in it at an earlier age?
Yeah. But I didn't have anybody. Nobody was thinking the way I was thinking. Nobody. I remember playing. We were playing catch and kiss. You know what I'm saying? With my cousin and the friends in the neighborhood growing up, and I played that game for real. And all my homeboys used to get caught. I'm like, why they get caught? I was naive. So
I got it. My mind is thinking about other things. But yeah, they wanted to get caught. You didn't want to get caught.
For real. The game. Very naive. I was just like always late to the party mentally. I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
And
but Peter, now we're talking. You're dropping nuggets for writers. Yeah. But one thing I want to just draw out with what you said, that yes, you think if you'd had an earlier cheerleader, you may have activated your gift earlier. But you talk about the Cosby Show, you talk about the Huxtables, and that was your idea of what family should be. And I can understand that, because for African Americans, when the Cosby Show was on, it was the first time for some folks that they actually saw two professional parents, college educated professional parents who worked well together, who had kids that were progressing. They all had their own strengths. You see the grandparents come in and out. They worked as a unit. And that was probably the first time we'd seen that and broadly on network television. And so I can see how it became a parenting tool, not just for you, but for other parents based upon what their role models have been. But I want to make the connection, though, for parents as to what you just said. If you'd had an opportunity to share what you were doing, what your mind was thinking about with a parent who was receptive, that may have propelled your purpose a little sooner. So for me, the nugget is, as parents, we have to be very mindful of the differences that our children bring to the table and nurture those differences, because that could be where their gifting lies, instead of sometimes suppressing things because it's like, no one in our family's ever liked doing this. Nobody in our family's ever been in this profession. Why do you want to write? Why are you always talking about, chemicals and molecules and all that type of stuff? Or why are you drawing out floor plans for a house or cars? Because that's where their gifting lies.
Yes.
And we have to nurture that, even if we don't have that skill set.
Yes.
Because I may not have it. And as a parent, because I don't have it, I don't want my child to think less of me. But that's an opportunity for me to nurture them, but also help them to understand that everybody has different gifts, and all the gifts and talents are important, because your gifts and your talents are so important. And you talk about being idle and how that led to the porn addiction and then to earn. Now we're going to have to jump, Peter, because like you said, it'd be 2 or 3 hours, Peter. Now, Postal.
Yes.
I know you were working in the post office in New York. When I met you, you were doing, I met you in February, March of last year. So you were doing crowdfunding. You were kicking off your crowdfunding because you were getting ready to do a short film about Postal, which I've read Postal. And guys, I'm just, we got Postal 2 and we got Postal. And that's how I came to know Peter as a writer, because you are so descriptive when you write, but that's who you are. And now that I'm sitting down in the kitchen with you, I understand it even more now, because that's just how you're wired. Yeah. You're wired that way. So like you said, with your friends, they're all doing whatever, and you observing, you listening to what they're talking about, but you're making up different scenarios about what's happening. So I know that because of COVID-19, you were not able to proceed with your filming in April of last year. But like most people who realized that COVID was putting a stop to one thing, but provided an opportunity for something else, talk to my audience about how you pivoted and what you guys have done as a result of putting Postal just on pause right now, because Postal's just on pause. Talk to the audience about what you've now got coming down the pipe.
There's an old saying, I'm quite sure you heard it, tell God your plans and he's going to laugh and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
So, we self-published Postal in 2012, went on a book tour throughout the country, me and my wife, Pam, and 2015, like I say, I want to keep it short, but there's so many pivotal things that led up to the filming of such and whatnot. So 2015, we went to a festival. We had such a spiritual counseling from 7 folks. We got to talk about that at a different time, which led me and Pam to shoot our first short film of Postal, which was only supposed to be a visual concept. You see how big those things are.
Mm-hmm.
So we did a 30-minute version and a 45-minute version to appease certain festivals, and everybody loved it. Everybody loved it. Even won an award. Went to San Diego Film Festival. Went to one of their workshops, and this writer told me to write out the full screenplay. Do you have a complete script? I said no. He said get on it. He said a great script moves mountains. I said got you. So when I went back home, and mind you, we had other festivals to go to. I got on the business of writing non-episodic miniseries of those two books. So last year we were supposed to film the first episode of Postal. Now, let me just pause there. During 2000, in the 2000s, even when we got the books done, I was writing Urge. I was outlining Urge the whole time. Even when I was in the midst of my deep addiction, a voice told me, write about this. This is in the top of it. When the computer came into our house, and I'm up here doing Postal, and when I would have a break, I let the fingers do the walking. Next thing I know, I'm looking at stuff. I'm like, ooh, for free? I don't have to go to the video store and rent this? It's free. No, it's not free because I wasted a lot of time.
Yeah.
So a voice said, you're going to be writing about this. So I've been writing. I was halfway through with Urge as a book. Okay. Last year came, we was all pumped, to do the film the first episode of Urge in April of last year. And then the pandemic came. It hit, the country, and we were like, oh, we're going to continue. We didn't know how devastating this whole thing was going to be until everything started shutting down. The big cities started shutting down. And then, of course, we had to shut down. Once it hit, we shut it down. That was the best thing. And I'm not going to say that because the whole COVID thing was such something. It was whatever. But for us, it stopped us from making a financial mistake. It took so much burden off my shoulders because we wasn't ready to film that. We was going to. Yeah. We had all our profile actors. We had you saw.
I know.
We had everything. We had our locations. We had our film crew. We was ready, but it wasn't supposed to happen. So my wife and I was kind of depressed. Not so much because of what was going on. I said we covered. We're gonna be all right. In spite of what's going on. I started. I said, I'm gonna start working on my spiritual development, my physical, make sure I'm okay. During that whole time, I lost 20 plus pounds, and I want to continue. I'm doing all that. I'm up here tightening up the rest of the episodes of Postal. And then one day I said, nah, something ain't right. Because really I want to own stuff. I don't want to write it and give it to somebody else and they make it, no. I want to own it, but I wasn't going to own it that way with pouring all our money into that first episode. Because we refinanced our house to invest in our project. Mm-hmm. I'm going to answer your question, but I'm just going to lay everything out. That crowdfunding that was supposed to be launched that night when we had our party, it didn't fare out well, and we knew it. You know what I'm saying? I said, no, we're not going to depend on ourselves. So that's why we did we're going to keep the money we had. We thought we was going to get more to add on it, but we didn't. And it was all fine. So I said, boo, I came home from work. I said, what am I supposed to do? She said, give it up to God. Talk to God. Because our casting director said, put Postal to the side and do a feature film. I went to bed. I woke up that next morning And God pretty much said, you got to finish Urge as a screenplay, and that's the first one you got to film. I woke up, I told Pam exactly what I just got finished telling you. And I got on the business of finish it as a script. So I took that last summer up until the tail end of last year. I kind of finished it. And then I gave it to my casting director, and she loved it. Now, this is my transparent story, okay? But I'm cool because I'm ready to share it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm over it. And our goal is for people to see it and help people know that they could make a change. Because all these addictions is covering up something else.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's covering up people that do a lot of drinking or depending on a drug or whatever. It's because they're suppressing something. It's just to suppress something else that they really dealing with. Insecurities a lot. So I was ready. So I gave it to my casting director. She loved it. I gave it to my cinematographer. He's like, we got to do this. I said, I know we're going to do this. You know what I'm saying? And our casting director did the auditions. I'm just fast forwarding it, through. We got our production team. This is all last year, early this year. I ain't doing no crowdfunding. We gonna use the money we had. Last year I was buying all the props. I'm a person, I'm not gonna be like asking, to donate. No, I ain't got time for you to tell me no. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time for you to ignore me. We gonna do this. So last year I was buying props, I was buying clothing, I was doing this, I was doing that, blah, 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 blah. Pam was doing this and doing that, going over the script, making sure we getting it really tight. Got assembled our squad, and thankfully I have a job that's really, I have a flexible schedule to allow me to film, because I have a job. I work at a steel company now, and we have a schedule where every month we get a 7-day stretch off every month. That's how we was able to be all over the country to pass, because I started working with them in 2012. Gerdau Steel Company, love them. That's how we were able to do all our functions. A lot of my friends like, how he had all this time off? Yeah. Because of my job. We would get, and I would use it. I would use them 7-day stretches, And there were times when I didn't have anything to go on. I would do overtime. But if we had an event going on, them 7-day stretches, a lot of times we didn't have to use our personal or vacation days. But this year I tacked it on more additional days to stretch it out, because it was a 10-day filming event. Well, we filmed in 9 days. We had a day break, a break in it. So all in all, 10 days, we got it done. It was incredible. Now, mind you, not only that we're doing this, we getting all this assembled, we got this to be concerned with, all the challenges of what we're going to do, how we're going to get this, all this other stuff done. We got to deal with the COVID guidelines.
Yes.
So we had meetings on top of meetings about that in itself. Mm-hmm. I was buying a lot of PPE, gloves, masks, hand sanitizer, everything. We had to have a COVID compliance officer on deck. Mm-hmm. All the actors who auditioned and we liked them, they said they loved their character, they loved the script. That April came, and God was all in it from beginning to end. It was just such a beautiful experience. And you will see it, because right now it's crazy. Yesterday, was it 2 days ago? I had a guy that was doing behind the scenes shooting. So he came by yesterday, and we were just talking. It was just amazing, and he got so much footage of behind the scenes. That's a movie in itself. And I'm excited about that, but really, we're really excited right now. We're in post-production, editing, then we're going to have it Lord scored. Composer, yeah. The composer going to add the music elements and all that. So that's where we at now. And we're excited. And I want to finish Urge as the book to have that, book. I want to finish it as a book. And truth be known, I'm revamping Postal.
Okay.
I'm revamping it because my wife like, why are you doing? I said, because I'm better now. I know my voice now as a writer. I know my voice. And what I have now, I shut everything down. I shut all my Amazon, I relaunched our company. And now I got to get a new website. I shut everything down on Amazon and Barnes & Noble where my books were. I don't want nobody reading what you have. Even though Pam was like almost incredible and a lot of people loved it. And the people that's going to watch this, it is really good. But now what I'm going to have on, for the masses to see once I relaunch it, if anything, Teresa, I brought it up to speed because that was like late 90s, early 2000s. My script is so modern. I said, and I love it because I had to pull the script from the book. Yes. And I'm like, damn, I'm going to bring this book up to speed with the screenplay. Because once Urge is done and it gets on some platform, streaming platform, where things open it up, maybe the big screen, whatever, it's going somewhere and people see it and generate the money it's going to generate, that money is going back into Postal. And we're going to do it the right way, the way it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? And we're so excited, but, we just got to remain focused, give God all the glory and keep it moving.
This has been a masterclass for me and for the audience, Peter. I think as we bring our time in the kitchen to a close, and I didn't make any jokes about that. I could hear the New York accent come out sometimes. We would do it all the time.
When I get excited, it starts coming out big time. Yeah.
But, I want to say, as a person who met you last year, and I knew how, let's say 2020, I know how focused you were. And, COVID happened, physical things happen to people, very, very closely, and, things happen.
Yes.
You didn't give up. And for me, I'm going to borrow some language from our current president, Joe Biden. You became the kid from Scrapping, was it Pennsylvania that he talks about? You didn't stop. Yeah. You kept fighting and fighting and fighting. You kept persevering. You kept reinventing yourself. And I understand exactly what you mean when you say the Urge, when you took Urge from being a book to being a screenplay, it metamorphosed and it's something that's solid. It's good. You filmed it. You got your voice.
Yes.
You got your voice. And that's something that you always had in here. And you had it in your heart. But it was taking a while for it to be activated. So for me, the way I see it, during the 2020, you were able to come out of that incubation phase.
Yes.
You'd written Postal. You've written Postal too, and they're good. Mm-hmm. But when you came out after having a little time, you came out as the butterfly. And that butterfly knows who he is.
Yeah.
Has his voice. And therefore, when we get Postal reimagined, it's going to be a blockbuster.
Thank you.
Because
it is.
It's good.
Yeah.
So if you now have refined your voice.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, come on now.
Yes.
It's going to be off the chain. And so I say to you, kudos, because you took what could have been, and as you say, you were a little depressed. And like I tell people when I'm doing my coaching, we give ourselves an hour, sometimes it might be a week.
Yes.
We don't wallow a little bit, but we can't stay there. Because if you stay there, you stop the progress, you don't get your lesson, and you don't move to what's just right down the road waiting on you.
Yes.
And you are a living, talking, walking example of activating that philosophy, that mantra. And now you're in post-production with a film, not a short, not a mini series. So it's like you went from here to all the way over here.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
jumped all over these other things.
Yeah.
And now we're just waiting.
Yeah.
So for my audience, I want them to understand that no matter where you start at, no matter how many setbacks it appears that you're having, just continue to persevere and pay attention to the voice when you hear the voice. Because sometimes we don't want to pay attention because it's not always what we want to do or what we want to hear. But pay attention to it and continue to do the work. Because I am so excited for you. I'm so excited that now is the time that I'm interviewing you. I know you will keep me posted on Urge, and you know, I'll only do a little interview that we'll put out on things so that people are aware of this great movie that's coming out. And I cannot wait to see it. I really cannot wait to see it. And I'm so happy for you guys. I'm really, really happy for you.
Thank you. You know, I'm just thinking, you know, you were supposed to interview me last year, but we never got a chance because you was interviewing everybody else, which is cool. And you was going to leave us for last, but it never happened. But you see where we at now, and congratulations on your new segment. You know, I'm excited for you, and I'm going to get your book as well. Stronger, the name of it is Stronger.
Stronger, how overcoming life's adversity will push you to your...
I'm going to support that, and I'm going to buy it, okay? You know, I learned over the years, just support people. We got to support each other, you know what I'm saying? And I'm definitely going to do that. And oh, my God, I'm so excited for your segment, you know, and everything that God got for you, you know what I'm saying? Because our gifts are not for us. It's for the people, you know, for the world, you know? And if we just stand by and just, you know, not do anything, you know, we letting people down, you know, that's waiting on us. And it ain't the people that's in your face, it's people outside. You know, my story is universal. Apply to anybody, apply to any addiction, because it don't matter what the addiction, I already told you, you know, it's covering up something, you know, what you going to do about it to get up out of there. You know what I'm saying? To get out of it, what you got to do, you know? And I talked about, you know, therapy. It was just I remember when I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was tired of waiting. I was tired. I remember when my wife left to go to work somewhere and I had the house by myself. Those are the times I would, you know, do my activities. And I just sat there. This was like 2000, either 8, 9. I said, I can't do this no more. I just can't. What am I doing? I'm wasting time. I'm putting all my energy into something that's not serving me. I wanted better for me at that moment. You know what I'm saying? I wanted better for me. My wife don't deserve this. My kids don't deserve this. I'm up here always preaching about this and that, but here I'm doing this and that. I'm on the fence. I got to get off that doggone fence. And I was like, God, come in, you know, God, please. And once I made up my mind, I gotta cut this thing. That's when the urge went into full blast. Like, I'm not ready for you to leave. I was like, but I'm ready. So it just started slowly. It was a fight, but over time, I'm so happy. You know what I'm saying? I'm in a better place. So I'm just in a better place, you know. And now I feel anxious. Like, now I gotta get stuff done. You know what I'm saying? I got all the time. You know what I'm saying? My energy's focused here. I ain't got to worry about no urge or none of that. You know what I'm saying? And like you were saying, it doesn't matter how old you are either. Start right then and there. No matter if it's local, nationwide, whatever. You got a message. You got a testimony. That's my testimony.
Peter, thank you for sharing your testimony. Now we're gonna be talking. We're gonna stay in contact.
I want us to.
When urge
I love your interview style. I love your interview. It's really, I appreciate you. Yeah.
Peter, thank you. Because I think when urge comes out, being able to talk more about that part of your life and how you really had to fight. You had to fight to get out of that.
It wasn't
And
no
it
cold
was a
turkey.
fight.
It wasn't
Yeah,
no cold turkey.
it's a fight.
But I made a decision to fight.
Mm-hmm.
I had to. Or I was gonna lose myself.
And you're gonna lose yourself. You're gonna lose your wife.
I'm
You're
gonna
gonna
lose
lose
all of
your kids.
that.
Everything that was important to you, you were gonna lose it.
I can't wait till you see the movie. I
I,
can't
I
wait
got
for
you.
you. I can't wait
Yeah.
for everybody to see the movie,
Well, I'm gonna put my little plug in. You might have to send me a one of those really rough. What they call it, a rough
I know what you're saying.
reel,
Yeah,
so that I can see it. And
I know
I
what you're
can't do
saying.
nothing with it because it's so
I
rough.
know what you're saying. I
But
got
yeah,
you.
I want to see that. I want to see that sooner
I would do that.
versus later.
I would do that. I would do that. Okay. I would
All
do
right.
that. All right. This was
Well,
wonderful.
thank you so much,
Thank
Peter,
you.
for joining
And
me.
this, I could run my mouth for a while, but this really allowed me to continue seeing stuff in me, allowed me to continue opening up, and I thank you for that, I thank you
Thank
for
you.
that, I appreciate you.
Well, thank you, Peter, for joining me in the kitchen. And I will say a little different this time as we sign off. Thank you, God, for utilizing me to be a
Yes.
vehicle so that I can help individuals transform through my show, Transform with TAS,
Yes.
and my Talk with TAS segments in the kitchen. It's all about being the best person that you can be and then helping other people become the best people that they can be. So thank you
Yeah.
so much, Peter, for recognizing that. And thank you for
Thank you.
being with me today. And
Thank
until
you.
our next interview, I'm going to say, until then, I'm not even going to do my bye now or any of that until our next interview together.
Yes.
Life is like a roller coaster. You never know what's coming next. Have life's events caused you to give up on yourself? You may have realized that time passes quicker than you expected, and you can no longer avoid your truth. Do you feel like giving up? In The Bounce Back, Dr. Taz explains how her life went off track, the damage it caused her mental and physical health and goals, and how she is now taking care of her needs. Get advice from Dr. Taz on how to properly care for yourself. The Bounce Back from Dr. Teresa A. Smith, available now.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that great interview. It fed my soul, and it fed my soul almost as well, I gotta say, as this breakfast casserole. As you can see, I have a very nice looking breakfast casserole for us to try. It is right out of the oven. Okay. So, you see the peppers? Oh, and the steam is coming. See the peppers, the red, green, orange, and the onions are there. So let's see what this tastes like. Because it is hot. I want to savor it. This is wonderful. I put salt and pepper to my taste. You can always add more salt and pepper, and you can even add other herbs or spices. But I did salt and pepper to my taste. I can taste the Italian seasoning that's in the Chaffle, but I gotta tell Mom about this because they're used to having my breakfast casserole. So let me see here if I can get Mom on the phone.
Hello?
Hey, Mama.
Hey, daughter, what's up?
Well, I just made breakfast casserole. You know the breakfast casserole I used to make for you guys when you would come for the holidays?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm always changing recipes, so I invented a new recipe. And this one, I'm using those chaffles that, Anjay is always making chaffles, and now she's got me making chaffles.
Uh-huh.
And so I did a chaffle with mozzarella cheese, and I did egg whites, and I did Italian seasoning. I use pork sausage this time, Mama.
Oh, good, good, good.
Yeah, I use pork sausage. And so, because it's just me, I use only a half a pound of the sausage. So that 1 pack of sausage was going to make me 2 casseroles. And so I used rainbow peppers, orange, yellow, green, did onions, and my egg whites again, because I'm trying to be healthy. And this time I put yogurt. I put probably fat-free or reduced fat yogurt.
All right, sounding good to me.
All righty then, Mama.
Because I love tasting. Yes,
you do, Mama. And I'm so glad that I have a taster. Because Mama can taste it. She will diagnose for you. She will get those professional chefs right. She'll let them know that it's not, they didn't add enough season, it doesn't taste right, and this and that, and she don't mind telling them. So
I don't mind telling them, need to add a little bit of whatever need to go in there.
Yes, ma'am. I know
I don't mind at all.
And that's why we love you, Mama.
Thank you, boo. I love you too.
All righty then. Well, I'll holler at you next time, Mama.
Okay, have a good one now.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So now, if you want me to transform your recipe, you know what you have to do. You've got to send me an email to transformwithtas@gmail.com. Put recipe in the subject line. Make sure you include your first and last name, and of course the recipe. And you never know when your recipe may be featured on Transform with TAS, where we are feeding our bodies healthy foods, good foods, it's kind of bad foods, and we are feeding our souls. Until next time, as always, take care of you so you can take care of someone else.